All right. Something was going on with my computer for a second, but I'm back. Um, well, I had to restart this over. So let me just start off by saying apparently there was more to the backstory of the Roland King Martin, King Randall debate. And I was coming across this on YouTube and I thought it was very interesting. Apparently, Roland sought King Martin out. I'm sorry, I just keep confusing the rings. Roland sought King Randall out. Um, and invited a young man on his page to do his podcast. Um, King Randall was initially hesitant, um, but I'm gonna just let him tell you because I seen it on a YouTuber's podcast where he did an interview. I just want him to tell you, and I'm gonna come over on the other side and give my commentary. Oh man, I had it pulled up already. I forgot I had to shut my system down.
I'm sorry. Go ahead,
All right,
brother. I
here
was
it
trying to
goes.
be funny. I don't interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Okay, my bad, my bad. But yeah, Mr. Rolo was being, bothering me on Twitter. I'm not sure why. Because I call myself a black conservative, but he kind of equate that with Republican and white people and all that stuff. But that's not necessarily the case. He started bothering me on Twitter.
Him? Oh hell,
Say it
he's
again.
synonymous with white folks. I keep thinking of him as a little pug dog with a collar and a leash around his ass, being woke.
I think this is Judge Joe Brown. This is Valerie Denise Jones. She has an amazing page, amazing YouTube channel. So check her out. I'm gonna leave the link in the description to the whole video. So
Full to heel.
We should have brought people back.
Go
Yes,
on and
sir.
shout out
Yep,
your Twitter as you explain how he approached you. So make sure you get that because we want to make sure our listeners can support you as well. So
Absolutely. Well, my Twitter is at New Emerging King. But Mr. Roland was actually tagging me in a few posts on Twitter, kind of bothering me and, attacking me about, he was trying to call me Republican and he called me an idiot in one of my posts saying that we black people should try to do stuff for our own community instead of, asking the government and stuff. So he called me an idiot. So he been bothering me for a while and he finally was like, well, y'all come on the show then. Y'all talk about voter suppression or whatever. And I kept telling him in the tweet, I'm like, that's not my fight. I'm like, I fight and I work with children. I try to fight for young black men before they die. That's my biggest concern. So he called me on the show and he tried to talk about voter suppression. I kept explaining to him that that is not my fight. That is his fight, and I work with children. So he asked me what my fight was and what did I mean by doing for self. And I simply explained what I was doing and how I'm able to do for self. And he kept trying to tell me how we're not able to do for self when I'm sitting there telling him we just did it. Me and some teenagers just went and showed you we could do for self, But he kept trying to argue with me. He never would say good job, never would at least say, that's cool or something, for helping the black community. He wanted to fight the whole time. And, I kept it respectful. I didn't call him any names. And I, remained respectful the entire interview because I knew that him doing that was only going to make him look bad. And he brought me a lot of fans, from him not acknowledging the work that we're doing and him trying to bully me on the show. And I kind of just let it happen. And I told my piece and I kept moving. After that, I didn't really feel any type of way because I've dealt with this ever since I started my program. People are always like, how are you, going to be 19 and you're going to teach somebody how to be a man? You're not even grown and stuff like that. And I'm just like, how are you going to tell me about helping these kids when what we're doing is working and you're not doing anything? So I don't really, I don't care how old they are. If you're older, younger, if you're not doing what I'm doing, when Roland Martin go open the school, then I'll have a back and forth with him. But until then, he can just keep on talking and keep
bars. I just want to say that.
on saying what he has to say. But that's his job to talk, get people riled up, and keep getting them to send him cash outs. Just like I just posted earlier, I don't get into mudslinging. I don't get into clearing anything up. I'm just simply trying to work with the children in my program. And I'm grown. Yeah. I don't have time for no childish games, and I'm definitely not getting into it with any commentators that all they do is comment. I don't make comments. I do work. So I don't have time, for that childishness. He can post whatever he like. I understand he's under a lot of scrutiny right now because of what he did, but that's his own fault. I didn't do nothing. I didn't push it. I have never called him any names, never tried to, make it all, about me or anything. Everybody else did that. Everybody else agreed with what I said. So he just did that to himself.
All right. Okay. So you heard King Randall explaining like how they initially came into contact. Basically, he was on Twitter and he was posting, things on Twitter like, like most people do. And Roland Martin apparently, started tagging King in some comments, tagging him in posts and basically trying to, I guess, bait him in a debate. I guess Roland felt offended by the fact that King's position was different from his, where Roland believes that the government is the way that we're going to basically enact change, voting and putting the right people in office to pass the right policies. But that's not King's approach. Not necessarily. He believes that, okay, that's cool, but we need to be doing things for ourselves. And there shouldn't have been any issue with that. I mean, there should not have been any issue with that. The only issue that Roland could take with him, from my standpoint and what I see, is, like I said, I'm not going to participate in the, I guess, the voting process that scared Roland. Because there are many people out there, many black men out there that have come to a consensus within themselves that voting is not the way to go. We've been voting for all these years, and it's never amounted us to having any forward progress as a people. And he's right. King is right. We have to do for self. We have to do for self. And I think that bothered Roland because, like I said, in the last video, Roland really is upset because the young man threatens the Democrats' overall agenda, which is getting black people to constantly vote, hoping and praying for change, but change never come. And after someone has lied to you for so long, you just get tired of it. And I think, there's a young generation of young black people that's growing up that's saying, I want to make the world around me better. As I said, that's not all the way how I feel about it. But I think it's a great way to go. I don't believe in voting at all. I just think voting is not going to do anything for us because I don't believe that the democratic process in this country was made for us. And I think that it's not going to solve anything. So that's why I said I agree with King on that part. My solution is different. My solution is I believe that those of us who have the means to leave the states, need to leave the states, need to be preparing to leave the states, because I believe the United States is imploding. I think that you cannot prosper. I think that you cannot prosper off the backs of one particular people without recompense. And I think when you do those things, when you take from somebody to build your own self up, I think the bill always comes due. I think that you have to reap what you sow. And I think America does not want to make good on his original sin, which the original sin is slavery. And you have to understand, under slavery came so much more stuff. It wasn't just about enslaving a particular people. There was a litany of things that came along with that forced servitude, a litany of horrific things that happened. So although slavery is one umbrella that we can place all that stuff on, you talking about rape, kidnapping, murder, sodomy, genocide. You talking about all of these things that happened under the umbrella of slavery. So yeah, but that's all I'm gonna have for this video, man. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I apologize about the technical difficulties and have to start the live over, but thank you. God bless and shalom.